Ladies and gentlemen, live from T-Briz Studios, it's the Adult Baby Show.
I'm a sweet boy.
I'll let a girl suck any part of me. I mean, honestly.
It's just in my mouth, just.
Oh, like, I'll try anything once.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Except getting to work on time.
You just ruined my day. Fuck your day.
Oh, let's get the feet involved.
It's not a nut. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud with you.
Some people
Yeah.
are absolutely
Uh-huh.
disgusted by me.
He ain't lying.
Hey, everybody. This is the Adult Babies Podcast, episode 262. I am B.
I'm Ryan.
And unfortunately, Chic has left the podcast. We got rid of him.
I got like you're joking, but when you said "Hey, everybody," there was definitely like a little bit of a somber.
Yeah.
Like, did you do that on purpose?
Yes.
Nice job.
It was
Good
a
acting.
tone.
You could be the next Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I could be. Or the next Michael Shannon.
Yeah. It's a hint at what's coming up in this podcast.
You'll get a little. We talk celebrities in this. There's a lot of celebrity,
talk. Yeah.
Celebrity interactions.
A lot of celebrity sightings. Yep.
We talk finding. What else do we talk about?
We talked about Chick a little bit.
We did talk about Chic.
about
You'll find out
driving.
where he is.
Yeah, we talked
And if
about
he's
some
coming back.
embarrassing childhood things exposed,
Yes.
and
How could I
a
forget?
little life lesson to the younger people of the world and how to deal with maybe navigating through life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
and not being so embarrassed and how to embrace that stuff.
Yeah, we have some lessons that you could learn
Some
from.
real
in
knowledge
this.
coming on this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
And we hope to have Chic back in 2 weeks.
I think he'll be
we're
back in a
off
couple
next
weeks,
week.
Yeah, I hope he listens to this. So
I hope he does too.
Yeah,
I
It'd be
think
good
he
to test.
might.
We should have left a little something at the end
Yeah,
to test whether or not
You're
he's
right,
going to
we
listen to
should've.
this. Oh well.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like now, I have my Cadbury eggs.
I was
So
wondering what
this
that
is not, this is the intro. So this is going to be an extended intro because I want to say, do you like Cadbury egg?
I had my first
mini
Cadbury
eggs?
egg
The
about
mini
2
eggs?
years ago, and I don't.
I'm
I'm not
impressed.
not.
Maybe because I grew up eating them.
Yeah,
So it was an Easter thing, and I was upset. I used to buy them by the bulk. I used to
Right.
like stock up on them so they'd last me through the year. But now they have like harvest balls and they have Christmas ones. So now you can get they're more readily available. But I still buy them throughout the whole year. Yeah.
so they're just all over the place. Those
Yeah,
Cadbury,
that's
they're
all
like
year
the
round.
Tom
not-
Hanks of candy. They're a little too many places, right?
Yep. Well, not for me. I can't get enough of them.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, this is 262. I think it was a pretty fun one.
This was fun. I
would
enjoyed
listen to
this.
the whole thing if I were you.
Yeah.
And enjoy. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard about
I ain't-
Venmo, and I was like, it was
That was good.
6
Yeah,
years
that
ago,
was
and I was
fun.
like, that seems like that's exactly.
You never
what
know
I'm
how it's
missing.
gonna go
Yes.
without. And it's great when you're out with like friends,
Just
and
like,
just.
yeah, the whole splitting the bill thing.
It's so much easier. Do you remember? I remember like going out to dinner with people, and it's like I don't want to go out if there's more than three people.
the anxiety
because it's a
of-
nightmare trying
Yeah.
to figure it all out.
the
Now it's
anxiety
nice
of when
and
the
easy.
bill would come. I feel
Yep.
like I went broke just because I would always be like, I'll just pay for it.
Yep.
I would rather just pay for everybody than
Yes.
deal with, okay, who'd you get, or splitting it up, or like.
And I never eat a lot with those like big dinners. I'm like I always pick. I'll have like a
Oh,
little
yeah,
appetizer.
my neither. Yeah, because I don't drink, so I'm
Yeah,
always
so
like, so I always feel like if we're gonna split the bill, I got to get my money's worth.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'll always
Yeah.
have like a couple drinks, unless we're doing like a really nice place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, we're doing like a nice dinner, and I have to. But
Yeah,
oh man, dude, I thought he was gonna quit on us.
you thought that's what was
I
happening?
thought Chic was done.
Yeah, it started to sound like that. So yeah, so we're recording. We're in it.
Yeah.
We're in it now. Yeah, no chick this week. First, he texted us saying that he didn't want to do any more Chick's picks.
Chic's
And
pick is done.
I felt bad because I don't know if I criticized him last week, but I was like, I think you should make like a anti pick and then to give his picks some validation. And then he was like, I don't want to do the picks anymore. So I'm like, is he pouting?
Well, no, yes and no. I think with that, I have told him over and over that he's gotta give us, because the best part about Chic, depending on what he's talking about, is when he kind of doesn't like something,
Yeah.
and he's
His
got a
anger.
funny way. He's like angry over like a couple of years ago, he got like so mad because of pregnant people parking spots.
Okay.
He's like, I can't. Why do they get to?
Yeah.
I gotta walk. So
Yeah. A rant is always funnier than somebody saying that they
Yeah.
like something. just by the nature
It's
of
just
comedy.
yeah, and it's he's gonna have another conniption with us now, talking about him while he's not here about
Yeah.
this. But it's nothing that I haven't told him. But like, if he did one thing that he doesn't like, I think it would help.
Yeah.
But his problem with that was he can't. He was like trying to to rant, and I'm like, you don't need to rant. Just find something that you don't. The guy watches.
And it'll come out naturally. It'll just
He watches 40 hours worth of television every week. He watches like at a full work schedule.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just find one. There's got to be something
He said,
you don't like.
he said there's plenty of stuff he doesn't like.
Yeah.
He said that himself. He goes, yeah, there's plenty of stuff I don't like. So,
And I thought, I don't know what you thought about the idea of maybe all of us come.
a pick a week.
Yeah, or it could be like once a month.
So one of my favorite podcasts that no longer exists anymore was a podcast called Get Up On This.
Uh-huh.
And it was two hosts. One of them was Jensen Karp, which I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
Name sounds
he used to be
familiar.
a rapper. Then he became a comedy writer. Then he does a lot
wow.
of stuff. Then he wrote a book. Well, actually his book is right there. Kanye West Owes Me $300 by Jensen Karp.
Oh.
So I love the guy. I think he's great. So he did this podcast called Get Up On This. Him and another guy, and they'd have a guest on every week, and everybody would bring a few things to the table that they think that the listener should like. Usually it was a musician, sometimes a TV show. It was the first time I heard about Black Mirror was from their podcast, like before it was on Netflix when it was still in. So
Before it
they
was
were
mainstream.
they were like really good at like finding things early. So it was like a lot of. I remember it was Jack Harlow before, like years before he broke. They mentioned him on the podcast. A lot of people, Weekends, like. So I always loved that idea, but it takes work. Like you have to do research to find things.
It does. Or
If it's what the podcast is surrounded by. If we're just saying like once a month, we all bring in something that we found that then
what
things
did
just
we
come to
like
you.
this month? Like we
Yeah.
find one thing. We don't have to do it weekly.
Yeah,
We
it
could
could
do
be
it
anything.
weekly,
It
but
could-
it could be something as like I had this croissant from this.
I was going to say
place.
food. Yeah,
Like it could be food. It could be a movie. It could be anything.
yeah.
I
love it.
I
I
like
love it.
that idea.
I love it.
And I like listening to that stuff because I like to find stuff out that I'm unaware of, like this Jensen Karp thing.
Yeah.
Why that podcast?
So he started. He joined the morning show at K Rock in California. And then he passed it over to like two other people, and I just never liked it as much. But then the K Rock, so it was like the Kevin and Bean show.
I've heard of that, yeah.
So it was like the world famous
Yep.
K Rock Kevin and Bean morning show. So he joined their show, and then they got shut down in COVID. Beginning of COVID, they fired everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, because one of them left. Bean left, like he retired. But it was like a big thing. I used to listen. I liked him so much. I started downloading the podcast of the Kevin and Bean show.
Was that? I see that. To me, that didn't sound like a show that would be good. Kevin and the Bean.
Yeah, Kevin and Bean. Yeah, it was definitely radio, like morning show radio hacky a little bit, and they played music a lot throughout it. So but the podcast would just be the talk versions of it. So, but it was good. It was like morning. That type of stuff. I'm just laying here. I was like taking a nap, like falling asleep before you got here. I'm like, all right, what can we talk about? And for some reason, I was just interested to like where you get your news from, because I get all my news from talk radio, like during the day, like, and not even news like politics, but like things happening in the world. Like, oh, that's interesting. All the like topics, like the pop culture stuff. I get all that stuff from talk radio, and if I listen to that, I don't know where I would get it from.
Same.
Like social media a little bit, but it's never in context. Like I feel like I listen to these morning shows. I listen to Jim and Sam show on Sirius, and they talk about things happening in the news. I'm like, this is where all the information I get. Sometimes I'm talking to people, and I'm like, oh, where'd you hear that? Like, where do you hear this stuff? I'm like, the radio.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't know where. So
I am the same way, and I guess Twitter or X, whatever the hell it is now.
that's right. Yeah.
I'll get stuff with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for years, like I got my news from, I would listen to the Howard Stern show, and Robin Quivers did the news.
Yeah.
And that's where I got like the daily thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I form my opinions.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's what. Okay.
Yeah. I take
form my opinions off their opinions.
I take exception to that, and I understand what you're saying, and I think that a little bit of that, because I always wondered, do I get my opinions from that? Because I used to watch Jon Stewart,
Yeah.
and I used to get my news from him, and even news surrounded by humor is where I like to get my news from. I don't
Yes.
want just to get straight news. And then you can you never know, like, all right, how much of this is actually the truth? How much can I take from this? But I think your personality, because I listen to Jim and Sam, I don't agree with a lot of what they said. I don't agree with Jim Norton really at all about what he says. But I listen to other things. So I think you do form your opinion based on things you listen to, but I think you also gravitate to things you listen to based on what your opinion is. So I think it's kind of like chicken or the egg. I think you tend to like things you agree with. So then so I think give yourself a little more credit to like forming an opinion.
No, that's true.
Because like I don't like Joe Rogan, and like I'll listen to his depending on who's on it. Like I very rarely listen to Joe Rogan, but if somebody I like a lot is on it, I'll listen. But I listen to it and I'm like, I hate everything these people are saying. I hate his opinions on most things.
But it's good to hear.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It is good to hear both opinions, you know?
Right.
And I guess, you know, like if there's something that I just totally disagree with and I like the show, I'm not going to be like, oh, I guess that's right.
You don't just blindly agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like with the Stern stuff, I remember like there would be a news story that Robin would say, and then Howard would kind of talk about it, joke about it, and like what he was saying kind of made sense to me. I'm like, oh, that take, if the take makes sense, that's my opinion. Yeah. You know?
Right.
If it doesn't, then it's just, oh, that's that.
And as long as you're open to hearing the other take and then letting that in as well, like these people who are just so hard way,
well, that's the problem.
Way, and then
that's
they
the
just
problem
don't
right
like.
now.
I'm very fluid. Like I'm like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. Like Bill Maher makes a lot of sense to me, and he's like a dislikable person, but everything he says, I'm like, yeah, everything he says makes sense to me.
Yep.
It's just logically, like not based on like any leaning. I'm like, yeah, that seems like logically, and that's all. That's all you can ask for somebody. Like, do you think this makes sense? And
that's how I judge myself. Like, I'm not a big politic guy. I don't follow it at all. But like, yeah, it's so funny. I do get my stuff from podcasts though.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And
I don't think that's bad.
A lot of them will say like, we're not news. We're just comics. You can't take us serious. I'm like, well, Mike, but you're talking about current events and so like. People do get their news from you people. Like, so
definitely.
There's a little bit of responsibility there to not, but it is also on the listener to be like, well, you have to form, you can't just.
Right. Like Rogan, for example.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's hardcore Rogan guys that whatever he says is gospel.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah. But also, like I said before, like if you like Joe Rogan, you probably have a similar mindset of him, which is why you gravitated to like Joe Rogan. But I also do know people who I know, and I've known them for years, and they don't really fit that form. But they listen to Joe Rogan, and then they started saying things. I'm like, you're listening to too much Joe Rogan. So it definitely creeps in.
It creeps in?
Yeah.
I like Rogan. Well, Rogan I liked a few years ago. I was never like hardcore Rogan, but definitely like you said, if there's a guest that I like, mostly comics.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not an MMA guy.
Here's my problem with Joe Rogan. We're going to start podcast beef. The least listened to podcast.
We've tried to start beef with Rogan before, and it just hasn't picked up.
Just not funny.
Yeah, that bothers me.
Like not even him as a person. Like I'm not saying like insulting him as a person. Like I've listened to his podcast, and it's not like, oh, he's trying to be funny. He's not funny. He doesn't really even try to be funny. It's in-depth conversations about a topic. I just like funnier conversations about things. Like it doesn't interest me if you're just analyzing things and being super serious and comics talking about what they can and can't say or like cancel culture. I couldn't be more bored with comics talking about cancel culture.
Oh, it's brutal.
And I'm like, be funny. Like if you like, and you're all out there with a platform saying the things that you say you can't say. Like it's ridiculous.
Also, Rogan will take like a joke somebody else says, and either he won't get it or he'll try to break it down. Like, oh, what do you mean by like? And that it's become like a thing on the internet now of like Rogan like just going over his
missing
head.
The joke.
I think Mark Norman said something about him just like not getting it.
He doesn't. Yeah,
and doing that.
His mind is always in the analytical form when he's on his podcast, rather
which is interesting. It makes him like an interesting guy where he's always. But yeah, no, I get that's not. But I don't go to listen to Rogan to laugh necessarily.
Yeah, I don't
unless
think
some of the
can. Yeah,
Some of the there's sometimes there's
Yeah,
guys on there.
I think
that's
Theo
really funny.
Vaughn, whenever he's on, like
Theo's
he
very
can't help
funny.
but be funny at
Theo's
times.
funny.
So yeah, it depends on the guest, but
It totally depends on the guest, but it just drives me nuts when he misses a clear joke.
yeah.
He clearly he just. How did you not see
Yeah.
that?
And so comics like say we're joking, we're just making, can't take us serious. And Joe Rogan's the one out there taking
not.
people the most serious.
It's so true, yes.
He's the one, yeah. He's the one that's like all this like anti-culture, cancel culture is like the head of it is Joe Rogan, but he's the one not taking any not getting any jokes.
Oh, you need to get on Rogan. You need to confront him.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? I want to get on Tim Dillon's podcast. I want to produce Tim Dillon's podcast.
You should. Do you reach out to these people? I guess it's weird, right?
No. But I think he's like his producer quit a while back. And
Yeah.
I was like, I missed that, but I was like, I would have sent my resume in right quick.
Send it in
Yeah.
and be like, "Do you remember that time I got you that sauce or whatever the hell? Didn't you get him something weird?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I got him a barbecue sauce.
By the way, are you a short guy? Shorts guy? Do you wear shorts a lot?
Not a lot. I always prefer anytime I can avoid wearing shorts. I do, but I'm not gonna sit. I'm not gonna be overheated. Why? Because I'm never wearing shorts. Here.
Oh, I never wear shorts, and I'm wearing shorts today.
Yeah. Is that why it looks so funny?
Yes. I'm wearing shorts today, and I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like I'm too exposed when I wear shorts.
Well, those are short shorts too.
Well,
so.
they aren't that short, but I guess I'm just the way I sit. They are a
Yeah.
little hiked up.
Yeah.
But I don't like my legs, and so going back to when I was a kid, I never like when everybody else around my age hit puberty. I didn't hit it right away, and if I did, like I was waiting. I couldn't wait to have hair under my armpits.
Really?
Didn't get it until like I still like I don't see it's
rare, yeah.
blonde hair. Like when I finally got it, I was like I don't even see it. It's got to like glisten off the sun.
Yeah. See, that's one thing that you want as a kid, and then you get it, and like I wish I didn't have it now.
Oh, I
would love to
I
not
wish
have-
I did.
Oh, you can
I
have
still
mine.
wish I did.
You can have mine if you want it.
But my legs, you can't see anything, right? It looks like I
just-
shaved my legs,
Yeah.
but there's hair there,
Yeah. It's
Very
just
light.
faint. Yeah.
very faint, and not a lot. Now, at that age where everybody else was getting, I saw hairy legs as a sign of manliness. Okay, and I remember in gym class, I was so jealous of the guys with the hairy legs. This sounds ridiculous as I'm saying it out loud, but what I did. Is everything all right over there? Yeah, we're good. All good. But I remember this. I always have these weird memories that pop up. I'm like, wow, I actually did that. So, what I did to show that I had hair was I found my mom's mascara.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
No, you didn't.
I mascaraed my leg hair.
That's the craziest thing I've ever
It
heard
was
in my
crazy. It worked though. It looked like I had black.
So wait,
jet
okay.
black.
So I was a little distracted a minute ago, and I feel like it was a bad time to be distracted because this is
It's crazy.
This is too good. So you would this was during in school. You're in school.
I'm in school.
You're wearing shorts. Or
I
you weren't
did-
wearing shorts. Like,
I would wear
leading up
shorts.
to this.
I would wear
Okay,
shorts.
so one day you're in school wearing shorts. Nobody can see your hair. You go
I
home.
was all bare. No
you go
hair.
home. You put mascara on your hand.
On my
your
leg.
legs. You walk in the next day to the school. You're wearing shorts, full hairy legs.
Yeah, well, I think what I had to do, I remember finding the mascara and being like, oh, or maybe like I saw my mom and I was like, what does that do?
Yeah.
And she's like, it darkens the hair, and I was like, and a light bulb went off. I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
And I did it, and at home it looked great. Like I look like an Italian man, what I wanted to be. The problem was I went to school, and throughout the day the mascara
runs.
it didn't run like my knees were crying, but like what happened was, since the hair was short anyway, and I guess you touch it, you move it, I just had these little black marks on my leg that looked. It did. I don't know what it looked like. It looked ridiculous.
Like you had ink all over your
Yeah, it
legs.
looked like when those guys like bald guys tattoo their head
Yeah.
with little. It kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
You did it
embarrassing.
one time.
I probably did it a couple times. I think I would do it in my house more. Just like that's how much I wanted to have leg hair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there'll be a day. One day I'll have it. Here I am. Nothing.
It doesn't
Nothing.
do any good.
Still.
You get
So,
blonde like hair.
yeah. It's like
Wow.
I haven't been blessed with good hair. Except for this beard. This beard is
It's
the
not
only
you,
thing.
It's the Irish. None
It
of
is the Irish.
have been
Yeah,
blessed
we
with
haven't
good
been
hair.
blessed with a lot of
No.
good things.
What
I
is
do
it-
like my eyebrows though.
You have nice eyebrows.
Thank you.
What is with the black-haired Irish? Like that's a thing I didn't know existed until probably my late 20s.
Yeah.
Like that's where does that come from? Do you have any idea?
No idea.
Like the
But
black-haired Irish women are gorgeous. but
They're
it's something that
they're
just-
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love a dark-haired Irish gal.
Yeah.
Like even a little pale skin. Like I don't need to. I'm not like I don't. I usually don't date Irish women. I don't think.
By choice or it just doesn't come.
I'm trying to think the last time I dated a
Well,
woman,
I
but
think it's better if you're going to have kids to not date an Irish woman because you got to break the cycle of it, the Irish
what are you gonna say?
complex and the health wise, like a lot of health issues with Irish people. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
like
a-
what? My skin
I feel like-
cancer.
yeah, I
The
feel like-
fact
I
that
feel
my
like-
nose is falling off.
Yeah, I feel like the immune system, like it's
Yeah,
Irish
my
people are
immune
not like a. Maybe it's not they're Irish, is that they drink a lot. Maybe
That
that's,
could
maybe,
be.
Maybe
That
I'm
could be unhealthy living.
compounding two
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
But regardless of any culture, any
The
nationality,
Greeks, on the other hand, I mean,
but
pristine.
it's always better to mix. Like the way for people to be the healthiest is to mix different nationalities and cultures and backgrounds.
Yes.
That makes for healthier people. So if we were smart, we would be like no more same culture, same
Yeah.
nationality.
I think most
relationships.
people are attracted to what's different, though, right?
Now I think they're becoming more. I think when they were maybe 100 years ago, it was like people were rejected things that were different. But now
yes,
that we have more access and we can see that then yeah.
But like, not even like back then. I think it was also they rejected anything that was different 100 years ago. But also, I think it was like you're an Italian neighborhood. You meet you're Italian guy. You're in an Italian
They have
neighborhood
access to it,
or an
yeah.
Irish neighborhood
More
or whatever.
The more people move around, the more they.
Yeah, now it's like I eventually we're all just gonna be like light skin, like brown, right? That's where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine so. Yeah, I mean, eventually, is in like maybe a couple hundred years if the planet doesn't.
I won't reap the benefits of that. I'm already pale, so it doesn't matter for me.
So yeah, I would say stay away from Irish women. Just for
Shiesty.
your kids in the future.
I don't think.
future
Yeah,
generations.
it's not gonna happen. Like I've retired my myself from women.
Oh, you're giving up?
Yeah, I really and I don't know if that's a problem where like should I speak to my doctor because like I just don't care.
And but like everybody has this idea of like what happiness is and what I should be doing. Like if you're happy day to day, then that's all that matters. Like if you're not happy, then look into it. But if you're happy being alone and doing it, there's nothing that says you need to be with anybody.
I know.
It gets worrisome when you think about your elder age, when you're like, am I going to be alone?
That's what scares me.
So that becomes a thing. But why can't you meet somebody then who also
That's
has
true.
has
I know
that?
a lot of people that meet at an old age.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think I'm going to make it to a very old age.
Yeah, I know you worry about that a lot. Yeah.
Well, I'm Irish, our genes, our genetics.
Oh no, but you're special.
I am special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
So
but I do
did anybody notice your mascaraed legs?
No.
No.
Because also this is probably
Do you think they
seventh.
didn't notice or they didn't say anything?
I think it was 7th grade, and I still feel this way. And this might sound, I don't know. I feel like most people don't notice things the way I notice them. I feel everybody probably feels that way.
See, that's the thing. Comics always like to act like they, we notice things and we more.
But
I
everybody.
think a lot of people do. I think comics just need the attention of talking about it more.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but there is definitely something to it. Like, I think also some people. You ever talk to somebody and like you just never notice that?
Yes.
So some people just do sleepwalk through life and
Yes.
don't notice anything.
Our friend that we do the podcast with, I'm pointing things out to him all the time.
Yeah.
And he just, what?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I hang out with people all the time. I say things to people I say things to people all the time, and they just, they've never thought of it, or you have a thing that you say once and you think is just something that's very obvious, and people are like, I've never thought of that in my life. So there's definitely there's a range of how much people notice, but.
And I get the comic thing, like, comics are also always looking for, I don't know, something to talk about.
Yeah, but it was like that way before. That's why he became a comic. I noticed
before.
I had things written down in a book before I ever told the joke because I
feel
was
a lot of comics are like that, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't start doing comedy at your first open mic.
Yeah.
You started when you were like putting mascara on your legs.
Yeah.
Because like you had to fit in. I don't know.
Yeah, and the reason why, and you were out noticing everyone else's hairy legs, and you were thinking about it. Why don't I have hairy legs? Like that's the type of stuff that makes you want to be funny. And like I got to talk about this stuff
because you realize how weird some of the weird stuff you do.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that it's insane.
Yeah,
but it's also kind of funny.
Yeah,
and
I think it just makes it so much better to talk about it and just say it, rather than
I remember when I first started just being open about like anything weird or different that I did, and it felt great, like just admitting this is who I am.
It's the 8 Mile like battle thing. Is like if you make fun of if you laugh about yourself, if you make fun of yourself right off the bat, you take all the power away from anybody else.
Of course.
I thought about this. I watched a video about a kid who was like there was like some party and there's a bunch of it was a room with a pool in it, and there was a bunch of people sitting around, and some kids like just walked in the room, and one kid didn't notice that he thought it was like a blue dance floor, I guess, and he just walked right into the pool and fell in. He just walked. He's just like with all the confidence. He walked in like thinking he was all cool, and he just took one step and just right in the pool. Everybody lost their mind.
That's hilarious.
And I thought to myself, he was trying to be so cool, like the way you could tell when he walked. But I thought, okay, I wish the video went on. To see, like,
they don't see how
his
we got
reaction
out.
to it, and like that can really be crippling in a social scene. But I'm like, but if he comes out of the pool laughing, it's all good.
If he plays it right.
If he's like acts embarrassed, then you're the kid who fell in the pool, and it's embarrassing. If you're making fun of yourself, if you start laughing, you can laugh with everybody else, and then you don't feel like anybody's laughing at you. That's all it takes.
It's great.
But you have to be you have to know that right away, because you can't roll that back. If you can't be angry and then like you act like you weren't angry.
You have to have that switch where you're like pissed off and embarrassed and be like, all right, own this immediately. You can't let even people like you really have to feel like, all right, well, this is actually hilarious now.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, like do you have a video? Like, let me see the video, let me see it. And then you have to like watch it and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the people that like, you ever see somebody walk into like a glass door. It's like you gotta just be like, oh God.
Yeah. I think that's what you gotta learn early on, because the quicker you do that, the better. Like I just bought compression undershirts. Like
those Spanx for men?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
How does it work?
I haven't gotten them yet, so I'm interested to see how they work, because I have like a couple button-up shirts. But they look like undershirts from here, but then it's all tight here. So I
Preaching to the choir. My God.
I texted Monique, like, I bought some regular undershirts too, because I needed some. I just searched undershirts, and I was just gonna buy regular undershirts, and these came up in the Amazon search. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll try these out. These look good. So I bought them, but you can't just like, if I'm like going out, like I'm gonna wear them when I'm with Monique, and like if she if she finds out I'm wearing them, but before I said anything, that's bad news.
Yeah, you have to walk her through the entire thing.
So I just texted her. I'm like, I bought some other shirts. I said 3 of them are they're like compression. She goes, and she said like Spanx. I'm like, yeah, exactly, like Spanx. So that's it. Like you can't find out I'm wearing Spanx, but I want to tell you, I don't want to like strangers to see my body. I'm okay if you know that I'm wearing Spanx, but I just like if I can fool people when I'm out to not see my love handles when I bend over, that's good enough for me.
That's it.
But I can't have the person that I'm with. Like I can't act like I'm fooling you.
You can't hide that. unbutton your shirt and you're wrapped up like a sausage. You can't.
And I even thought for a second, I'm like, what would I do? Like, would I have to excuse myself to the bathroom, switch my undershirt, and then come back out like I've been wearing that the whole night?
There's no way.
And like
Now the buttons are all
and like keep the spandex Spanx in the bathroom away from. So it's like I can't go through all that.
No.
And there was a time in my life when I might have considered, how do I get away with wearing
Of course.
Spanx? And I'm like, no, it's easier just to say it out front.
Yeah. And I think it takes everybody, most people learn this, but I think it takes a different time for everybody. And
Yeah.
once you realize that,
Sweet. It makes life so much easier.
life's a breeze.
Yeah.
Life's a breeze. You can't do any wrong.
Honestly,
if you own all your
is just so freeing.
Mm-hmm.
Life is so easy when you're just honest at there's nothing. I'm not looking over my back. I'm not wondering. I'm not scared about finding out. Like, it's just whatever,
That's why I think Chic is such a likable character, because Chic, whatever he is, he puts it out there.
Yeah.
Even if he's a pain in the ass, and he is what he is, and you're gonna you get what you get with him, and I think people gravitate towards that.
Yeah, he's got that he's got the honesty of a comic. He's found that's a life. It's a life hack.
It's a great life hack.
Just own it. I remember once when we talked about last week when I was with those guys I work with in the warehouse. I came in. I used to have like not bad acne. Like I would never say bad acne, because people with bad acne,
Yeah.
that's a rough go. Like as a
rough
kid,
go about it, yeah.
But I would always have a few zits, always. And I got one of the guys gave me advice. He's like, no, just take like a hot towel, like a really hot towel, and you just press it, like really hot water. He goes, then you put cold water on it. So I went home and I tried that, but I went too far. Like I put it was like boiling water, like on my head.
Oh Jesus!
And I literally I burnt my head like with hot water. And I remember I went in. I was wearing a hat. I never wear a lot of hats, but I went to work the next day. I was wearing a hat covering this like big burn mark, because I didn't want it to like. But a couple hours went by, and I was like, "I'm just gonna own this. I'm just gonna." So I took my hat off. I'm like, "Thanks a lot, asshole. Like, I took your advice. Like, I got
great
burnt
advice.
He's like, "Well, not that warm. Like, I didn't tell you to put boiling water on your head." So then it became like a thing. So yeah, like I tried. I started the day like, I'm gonna hide this thing. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Hide this my burnt forehead? No, this would be funny. We'll just talk about it.
Yeah, especially when somebody else told you to do it, and you'd be like, "Look what you made me do!
You made me burn my head.
You burnt my head."
Yeah, like a rag, or just it felt so good. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna work." Yeah, got rid of the zit. Also got rid of your skin.
Yeah,
that was Oh God,
I had a run-in with a celebrity today.
You did?
Not just any celebrity. I would say one of my musical heroes, of like an all-time favorite.
Is this somebody that I know? I'm gonna know.
The name?
Yeah.
The person?
Yeah. Can I get can I
Guess.
can we play like 20 questions?
Yeah. Long Island.
Well, that's not how 20 questions works.
How does it work?
You're playing 20 answers. Well, you just give
No.
You just give me hints.
Oh, you ask me questions.
Yeah, that's how 20 questions works.
By the way, I don't even know. Long Island. All right, come on.
All right. What genre of music? Rock and roll music?
Yes.
80s, big 80s act?
Uh-huh.
All right, D. Snyder?
Although someone say it sucked in the 80s.
Not D. Snyder.
Wasn't D. Snyder.
Like hair metal?
No,
not that 80s.
I would say less like, not like
urban.
Not urban.
I'm terrible at this game. I don't know why I even started.
No.
I don't even know
You're
why
good.
I started this.
You're good. Don't say that about yourself.
One of my favorite podcasts. They do a celebrity sightings like a segment. If anybody they see, but they live in LA, so they see a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
And they do they do 20 questions. And I never guess who the person is. Like maybe once in the history of the show. So 80s music.
And
male. White guy.
White guy. I would say 70s, 80s, 90s, and
70s,
today.
80s, 90s, and today.
Yeah.
This is a Walk FM. Or no, is that did they play 70s, 80s?
Yeah. This is a legend. Think legendary status.
Billy Joel.
That's him.
Really?
Yeah. Ran into Billy Joel today.
Wow, where?
Sag Harbor. Sag Harbor. I'm working in Sag Harbor. Apparently, he lives right in Sag Harbor.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
when I went home and I Googled like Sag Harbor, Billy Joel, and there was this weird looking house there, had all these bottles hanging from it. And that was the house that showed up.
Really?
He has a few houses,
He
I'm
must,
assuming.
yeah, because I don't think you could probably like see his house from the street.
It was like a small on the street, like
so that's
right
one of his
there.
houses. Yeah.
So I'm walking with my hand truck, and I see.
Can I say first of all, so I work in Sag Harbor a lot too, and I'm a hand truck. I'm out there driving. I'm gonna bump into you one day. It's gonna be the best day. It's gonna be the best thing that happens at work when I bump into you at work.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm hardly out there.
I was gonna say I thought you're normally up in Connecticut.
Only
Yeah.
if somebody is on vacation. I know all the routes, so I was able
You're
to.
the utility guy. Yeah. He's the
Yeah,
utility guy.
not that I'm the only one. A few people do, but
Yeah.
they kind of bounce me everywhere.
Yeah. All right. So it's unlikely, but maybe one day I'll see you in Sag Harbor.
That'd be
So
nice.
You're walking with your hand truck.
Got my hand truck.
Where are you delivering to?
A place called American Hotel. Very
Beautiful
famous place.
Beautiful. I've always wanted to stay there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going around because I had a park. I had this other stop. What the hell is it called? It was on Bay Street, apparently where Billy Joel. I think it was on Bay Street. That place is a real nightmare to drive around in.
One of the worst towns
It was
to work in. Yeah.
It was awful. So I kind of left the truck somewhere, and I was walking back to it, and Billy Joel's right there. Like, the only reason I knew it was him is he's been wearing this hat, he's been wearing this hat. It's like a motorcycle hat. It's almost something French.
So yeah, he owns a motorcycle shop in Cold Spring Harbor.
Yeah, maybe Oyster Bay, Cold Spring Harbor, something like that.
One of those, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah, so
But
I know
it's
he's
like
big
a
into
cool
motorcycles,
vintage
yeah.
hat.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've
You
seen
said he's been wearing it, like
been wearing it. I think because he was
you
in
follow him
Ohio
on
over
social media or something. How
I
are
do.
You?
I told you. I'm a big
Yeah, I
fan.
never liked Billy Joel. I don't like Billy Joel. Yeah.
Well, that's just ridiculous.
I know. Here's the yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Somebody, a friend of mine, years ago.
Not one song.
No, there's like I'm not. Just most of his songs I don't like. I probably like a couple of his songs.
Yeah.
But I think I'm more just anti like Long Islanders drinking and singing it, like being drunk and singing along to Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I don't like that vibe. So it always.
Let me
had a
tell you
problem.
something though. I know you don't drink. You ever have like 3 beers in you, 3 or 4 beers, and they're singing the Piano Man?
I'm sure that's a great time.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's living life.
Yeah, it just I never drank, so it doesn't register with me. Yeah.
Oh, oh my God.
It looks like a good time. It honestly looks like a good time. And I don't like to shit on anybody's thing. I'm happy that people like him. I'm not a Billy Joel sucks. I don't like to say people suck because it's just, if it's not for me, it doesn't mean anything. It just means I don't like it.
Of course.
But people like to have those arguments like, oh, how could you listen to that? Shit sucks. I'm like, I don't know. I like a lot of shit that people probably wouldn't like.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, but you have a more diverse
Yeah,
musical taste.
So did you speak to him? Did you say hi?
So here's the thing. So I'm coming down, and he's walking. I notice the hat. And I'm like, I know this hat.
You recognize the hat first.
Recognize the hat first. Because you can't. He looks like an older guy.
Yeah.
Just walk
He is an
by
older
himself. By himself.
Good for him.
He had like a pack on his it almost looked like a heart monitor he had on it like attached to his hip there too. I don't know what that was. So he's walking, and I am not the person to ever talk to a celebrity. I'm just not. I don't. Yeah. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I've done it. I told I've had some embarrassing moments with celebrities, but it's Billy Joel, man. This is the Piano Man. I had to say something. So as I'm coming up, and I didn't want to be too loud because I didn't want But also he's in the neighborhood, so people kind of in that neighborhood recognize him, leave him alone. So I'm like, Billy Joel. I'm like, you are the man. I love you. I'm such a fan. I said, I love you so much. And he goes, oh yeah, all right, thanks a lot. And I was like, all right, I could walk away with that. I had my interaction with Billy Joel. Didn't have my phone on me, so I like.
Would you have?
I probably would have. I don't know. It depends. I would have had to read the situation. Just like take a quick photo.
You leave your phone in your truck while
Leave it in the truck. Yeah.
Huh, interesting. Why?
I don't know. I also leave the truck running.
I leave my truck running a lot too, but I always take my phone. I had my truck stolen. I had my phone stolen out of my truck once, and I've never left
I should do that.
left my phone
You know
in my
what?
truck.
It's just I wear these shorts, not these shorts, but I wear shorts with like little pockets. So if I take my phone out to every stop, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna lose it.
Okay.
But maybe I should bring it with
I have
me.
deep pockets. I work with deep pockets only.
Yeah, in the wintertime, my pockets are deep, but summertime, I'm loose. So I felt like there was an opening for a question, but when you meet somebody like that, you don't have a question lined up.
Right.
So here's what I said to
Will
him.
you do my podcast?
No. But I'll give him a quote for a podcast. This is a quote from Billy. I said, I got to ask you, do you like being Billy Joel?
It's a good question.
Good question.
Good
I
question.
said, and he kind of laughed, and I'm like, you know, like just random people on the street like me telling you I love you. Like, do you like that? And he goes, it's a funny thing, you know. I guess if people didn't recognize me, I wouldn't have much of a career. So I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm like, awesome. You're the best.
That's great.
And kept it moving.
So you would like you guys? He stopped. Like you guys were walking past each other, and he actually
Yeah,
stopped.
it was like, you know, Main Street over there, right down the block from American Hotel.
Yeah.
It was right like on the corner there, and it wasn't like a ton. There was like people walking around, but like either they didn't recognize the hat like I did,
Yeah.
or they just didn't
Well,
care.
I think you know there's such like snobbery.
They
in
see
Sag
people all
Harbor,
the time.
and I think people they know like, oh, you don't say anything.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
but the delivery guy is like, he'd probably get a lot from the workers because
Of course.
they're not as cool. You know. What I mean?
yeah. Or maybe they're more cool because they're not. I don't feel like I bothered him today.
Right.
I
Because they're not so stuck up to think like. you know,
Yeah.
We're okay with being like a fan. It's cool to be like, oh, I'm a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. It doesn't even if you're Billy Joel, it's
want
got to
it.
be nice to have be like, I grew up on you, I love you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I didn't linger.
Yeah.
Ask one quick question.
No linger.
One quick question. But
sounds nice.
I was happy.
And you're like a fun person, and that's a fun interaction. Not to be like you didn't ask him something stupid. And,
no,
you know,
that's why I was like, what's an out of the box thing?
You didn't insult him. You
No,
didn't,
I would never do that.
Yeah,
I
But
always
sometimes
recognize you because of the hat.
But people don't always know when they're insulting somebody. Sometimes somebody
That's
asks
true.
somebody about something, you know, and it's
That's
like,
true.
That's
Yeah. So I have two questions for you. You see Billy Joel walking down the street. What do? You don't give a shit, right?
I don't say anything to him. Yeah,
You don't. Do you even look at him?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Look at him. Yeah.
Are you
I'm
like
not-
even a little bit impressed? That
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
piano man.
Yeah,
is right in
I've
front?
passed people who I don't have no like reverence for, but I'm like, oh my god, look! Like I
Yeah.
passed. Well, I've seen a lot of people in East Hampton.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin, Will Arnett. I've seen what's his name from the Birdcage? I can't remember his name.
Nathan Lane.
Nathan Lane a few times. Yeah,
Huh.
I think I almost killed him. I almost ran him over in my truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Just going about your business.
Yeah, there was like a parking lot that kind of like you have to drive over the sidewalk, and it's like I don't know how more people don't get killed because like you're like blocked. You have to like inch your way out to see if anybody's coming, and I was just like pulling out, and he was just came across the street. I was just ran
I'm
over.
just
Nathan
picturing
Lane.
Nathan Lane running with his, he's
Yeah.
like a little.
And I actually love Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
And if I would come across him, I would say something to him, but only because I used to love him on the David Letterman show. He was like one of my
Yeah.
favorite guests on the David.
Yeah.
He would always come prepared with bits, and he was like funny. He would write a bit for his appearance on like
Wow.
an old school.
That's good.
guest.
That's a nice.
You know,
way
like
to
that's
do it.
people just like fuck around and be like, oh yeah, so I vacation over here. He would always came prepared, so I always appreciate that. So I would tell him like the worst part about David Letterman retirement to me
Was not having
you on anymore. Yeah.
I ran into Alec Baldwin in the airport, I guess a few months ago, and it was around the time when the whole murder situation was happening.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was sitting there. I didn't say anything to him. I don't, but he went to sit in the corner of this bar. Like we were like in this terminal, and he sat in the corner of the bar, and like two people walked up and sat in the bar. I don't even think they noticed him, but he just gave them a look, grabbed his bags, and walked away. Just
He was like afraid they were even gonna.
yeah, he's like, I don't even want to be bothered. And then when he was going to Syracuse, I think I looked it up. His mother lived there or something like that. He has a house there. So yeah,
You looked up where he was. How do you know where he was going?
I just looked up because it was so odd that he was going to Syracuse that I Googled Alec Baldwin Syracuse.
Yeah, but how did you how did you see he was going to Syracuse?
Because I walked him. I saw it was
at?
yeah. It was he was walking into the Syracuse thing. It was the terminal where there's one here and one here.
Yeah.
Like we share the
Yeah.
terminal.
Okay.
But as he's online, some guy is yapping, and he seemed like he was talking to him. He was fine.
Yeah, he just doesn't like paparazzi. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Alec Baldwin. I'm a fan of his.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin is.
I wouldn't probably talk to him. In
Yeah,
public,
that was.
but, yeah.
Listen, there's a handful of people I would talk to.
So I was out.
Billy Joel was one.
I went to dinner Saturday night in the city, and I was sitting. It was like this place right near Broadway, and there was a guy. It was an older guy and two with eavesdropping. They're all gay.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out like how people came to come together. So like these two guys and this old guy all sitting together. And I'm just listening, trying to get clues as to how they know each other. I'm like, I think they're all actors. I think maybe, but then I'm looking at this one older guy. I'm like, oh, he's an actor. He's in something. He's like a sitcom, like character actor. Like I can't remember what he's in, what he plays. And I so badly wanted to go, you can't go up to somebody and be like, who are you? You're somebody, right?
Where do I know you from?
Yeah. Because that's like an insulting
It's
question
very
to
insulting.
say. So I was telling Monique, I'm telling you that guy. So, but the problem was not the last time, but 2 weeks ago we were out in Greenport eating, and I'm looking at a guy. I'm like, I think that guy's an actor. I think she goes, now I can't I'm like the boy who cried wolf now. I'm like, everybody's an actor.
Everybody's an
So
actor.
she's like, sure, he's an actor. And she didn't believe me the first guy because I think he just looks a lot like I forget what he was, some British actor, and I'm like, no, but like this next time, I'm like, no, he's definitely. I know this guy is in the sitcom, and I was just like. Wanted to try to get a picture of him, but couldn't.
Well, it's I guess this probably is not a good thing if this ever happens, but I always kind of wish when I see people like that, we had the ability in our phones to like snap a picture and then the phone tells me,
yeah,
this is so and so.
Yeah, I think
Eventually that'll be a thing, right?
I think you kind of can do that a little bit.
Can you? I know you could do it with bugs and birds. And planets, for that matter, I think.
Yeah, well, I know you can do it with plants and birds. I have an app that it'll find the sound of the bird. Like it just you hold it up and the sound. It tells you what the sound of the bird is.
I downloaded that app.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think you probably could do that. Well, because Google has the Google Lens, so I've found shirts. Like I've seen I've been out and I saw a guy. I'm like, oh, I like that shirt, and I took a picture of it. And then you go to the Google Lens app, and you put it in there, and it'll tell you where to buy it. Sometimes it's not always the exact shirt, but sometimes it is, and you can find.
I just used Google Lens for the first time the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
You know what I did? Took a selfie. Will anything come up? Nothing came up.
So
I don't think it works.
Maybe we should try that. Just take a screen cap or save a picture of a celebrity and put it on Google Lens and see if it shows you who it was. And maybe that's already a thing. Yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I always kind of want to do it because I'm always seeing people and I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere, but you don't know.
I'm going to look up Nathan Lane. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to screenshot a picture.
It's funny that Nathan Lane is the one guy that like that's the guy you have to talk to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's the one guy, but yeah, he's definitely somebody that I would, Richard Kind is one of my favorite people in the world.
Dude,
and,
I have a Richard Kind story.
Really?
Tell me.
Well, I just love him so much. Neil laughed at me because I was saying one time I was like, why can't Richard Kind I was like a celebrity it was like a commercial for a show and I'm like, why can't they get Richard Kind to play this? I'm like, Richard Kind could do that. I'm like, Richard Kind's not in enough stuff.
He's not.
I got mad that Richard Kind isn't,
That's so funny you say that.
So, yeah.
Wow. Well, I was thinking, I didn't say it because I'm like, I thought his name was Richard Kern or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's Kind. Now, Richard Kind was George Clooney's roommate in college, right?
Yeah. Do you know that story? Do you know
Yeah.
Do you know his famous prank?
Tell me that again.
Well, first of all, I want to say that so my personal story of Richard Kind, I was in the Comedy Cellar one night. I went to go see a show, and Gary Goldman was on the show, and Richard Kind kind of snuck in during the show, and he's just there's one stool they allow celebrities just to sit at, and I'm just watching the show, and I hear a laugh coming from the back of the room. I'm like, That sounds like Richard Kind.
That's a kind laughter.
Just by that's a kind laugh. And just by the sound of his laughter, I'm like, that's. And I looked over, and sure enough, it was Richard Kind. He's got a very specific laugh.
You are a big fan.
So
of
now I'm just
oddball people.
Well, he's been on a couple on a podcast I like a couple times, and I'm like, I love this guy, and
Richard Kind.
I don't like that he was on Curb Enthusiasm, but he didn't play Richard Kind, and I'm like, he's on a big enough name.
Oh yeah, what do you play? Like the cousin or something?
I'm like, you can't just give this guy.
Yeah,
name status.
That's
like,
funny. Yeah.
Everyone else is like, oh, that's
I liked him on.
This is the guy.
I like
this
him
is
on
the guy.
Curb though.
And then you got like Super Dave plays like he's himself, but Richard Kind can't be himself.
Yeah.
That's not. And
Wait, did
it's also,
Super Dave play himself?
Yeah, he played.
No.
Yeah.
No, he plays
Funk. Oh,
Marty
Marty
House.
Funkhauser. You're right. You're right. In my mind, he was playing because his name is Einstein. His real name is Einstein.
Yeah.
Bob Einstein.
Yeah, and his brother. Albert Einstein. Albert Brooks.
Yeah, crazy. You're right. He played Marty Funkhauser. You're right.
The Funk Man.
Yeah,
He wasn't the Eyes Man.
No, but it is arbitrary. Sometimes they get big names like that, but then you got other people. Ted Danson is playing Ted Danson. Like,
well,
he's not just playing.
And Ted Danson's wife,
right.
Mary.
Right, Mary Steenburgen. Sure.
Yeah.
Where's my Google Lens? Google, here it is. So yeah, I was like, but then my Gary Goldman set was ruined because I'm spending the entire
now
time.
you're looking at.
I'm just literally just staring at Richard Kind, laughing and enjoying, and I felt so like, yeah, right, he's great, right, because I love Gary Goldman so much, and I was like, see, I'm like, Richard Kind gets it.
Did it make you like Richard Kind more that he was a
already,
Gary Goldman fan?
100, totally, absolutely.
Did Gary Goldman go up and notice him?
So no, but they probably were hanging out upstairs at the table. So I just put this picture of Nathan Lane in the thing, and it came up Nathan Lane. So it does recognize actors. So I should have taken a picture of this fucking guy.
You should have. Now we're gonna look like creeps, just taking pictures of everybody.
So yeah, and you always think you're so good at it.
You're not.
Nobody. Like the other day, I went to take a picture of the guy. I went to go get my car inspected. And I'm waiting in the waiting room, and this guy comes in. He sits down, a full waiting room. The guy sits down right next to me. He's watching TV with his mouth open. And I did take a picture of him, but I'm like acting like I'm on the phone, and then you're trying to hit the snap the button. But people always know.
They always know.
So Richard Kind and George Clooney were roommates.
Yes.
And George Clooney likes to play pranks on people.
Yeah.
And he wanted to play a prank on Richard Kind. So Richard Kind had a cat named Kitty. I think he called him Kitty. And George Clooney would scoop out the kitty litter every day so that Richard Kind would go to clean it, and there would be he thought his cat wasn't going to the bathroom. He thought he wasn't taking shits. So I think it was like a week went by, and Richard Kind started getting worried. He's like, my cat, he's not going to the bathroom. He's like, what am I going to do? I take him to the vet. So then finally, George Clooney one day took a shit in the kitty litter, like a big human shit in the kitty litter. So then Richard Kind came home and he checked the kitty litter and he saw this big thing, and Richard Kind goes, "Kitty!" He was all excited that
that's hilarious.
Kitty finally.
Oh
shit.
my god!
And then he shit this big human shit because he had been so backed up. Yeah.
So you think he sat on the kitty litter?
Yeah. So think of this most eligible bachelor. This most. What is a People magazine? Like how many years in a row?
Man.
Yeah, squatting over a kitty litter to make his buddy
just
laugh.
to mess with Richard Kind.
Yeah. So I kind of always gave me more respect for George Clooney that he's not, he's a little, I think he seems like he's probably a pretty, not that I actually don't like shit humor mostly, but
Yeah, me neither. But that's funny though.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There's wow, that's how.
So you have a Richard Kind story?
Yeah, small. So I used to deliver. So I've been in the delivery game for a while, but I worked for my father's company was home medical supplies. So it was oxygen, hospital beds, wheelchairs, all that stuff, right? So I would work the Manhattan a lot, and one day and it was awful working Manhattan I would have to deliver these gigantic oxygen tanks with three, and you couldn't park anywhere near these buildings. It was just you'd be walking through the streets for you know. So one day I had an easy delivery. I'm bringing a wheelchair up to this apartment. So you know, on wheelchairs they have like the little leg rests.
Mm-hmm.
So I would take the leg rests off and I put them in the seat just so they wouldn't
Sure, I think
swing.
I think it's common practice.
Yeah. So I'm crossing a street and I see Richard Kind. He's on the phone. And I'm like, oh, that's Richard Kind. And I'm kind of looking at him.
Did you know his name, by the way, then? Like, did you, in your mind, no, that's that guy from...
I don't think I knew his name.
Mad About You.
I don't think I knew his name, but I knew who he was for sure. So as I'm doing this, I'm not paying attention. I like go off the curb and I drop the wheelchair legs, like basically right on the guy's feet. And he just looked at me and just kind of stepped over them. I was like, "Oh, sorry,
Sorry, Richard Kind."
Yeah, that was it.
So sorry, that wasn't very
kind
of me. That wasn't very Richard Kind of me.
Yeah. So that's it. It was quick and easy.
Yeah, him. I don't think I could resist saying something.
This is insane to me.
Yeah.
Billy Joel, no. Richard Kind, I have to talk to him. What would you say to Richard Kind?
Maybe I should think about. Maybe we should make a list of
That would be
actors
good.
I would say something to,
Yeah.
and then come up with something to say.
So far it's you got Nathan Lane and Richard Kind. Those are the two guys that you have
Aesop Rock.
And Aesop Rock.
Yeah,
Aesop Rock.
I'd show my tattoo.
You would have to do the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a big list, but I'm always more likely to, if it's somebody who's not huge and you want to make them feel good, like they recognize them. Like there's a lot of comics. Like if I felt like I saw, I would be like, I remember I saw, no, I can't remember his name. He's a comic in New York. God, I can't remember. I saw Luke Mones once walking down the street. You know Luke Mones?
Yeah.
And like I've done a couple of shows with him,
right?
But I also am I think he's great. I think I'm kind of like a fan of his. So I walked him once. I wanted to just go up to him, act like I was just a fan of his. I'm like, because nobody. This was probably 6 years ago. Like nobody.
Wow.
5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows who this guy is, but I think he's great.
You didn't say anything though.
Dov Davidoff.
Yeah.
So I think I like him, and I saw him just walking on the street, and I wanted to be like, oh my god, dude, I'm a huge fan. And like, how would that go over with somebody? But he kind of had an aura of like, don't speak to me. So
yeah. I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
But yeah, like somebody who I feel like I'd be kind of making a day by noticing them. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah. Because I'm a deep comedy. Like I like a lot of
of course,
comedy nerds. So
yeah, especially if
Paul Tompkins. If I saw Paul Tompkins, I'd have to say something.
You'd have to
and
say
I feel like he might be an asshole. They always say like, don't meet your heroes. Like I feel like he's definitely some guy I could see being like, he was a dick.
Yeah.
But I would still love him because I'd be like, it's kind of like.
Yeah.
I met him a couple times like at a show. Like,
after a show.
After show, but yeah. I asked him once. I said, why does? So it was like a meet and greet. He was signing stuff. And I was like, why does Philly produce the funniest people? And like all the funniest people are from Philly to me. Like Ron Bennington, him, Todd Glass, Bill Cosby.
All the greats.
Yeah, so a lot of my favorite funny people are from Philly.
I'm a big Todd Glass fan.
And he goes,
big fan of Todd Glass.
Very quickly goes, must be in the water. Because with the Philly accent. Yeah, it must be in the water.
Oh, that's
so I was
good.
like, that's perfect.
That's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
I made a mistake one time. I was at the band The Gaslight Anthem. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there was a time I was like a huge. I was really into them.
You're a gas head.
Yeah. And I saw them at a show. I think it was at the Bowery, whatever that place is over there. And I waited for them after the show, and like the van was there.
Yeah.
And I actually like ran upstairs and I heard like stuff, and like some security guard kind of pushed me out. That's how like I was a nutty guy. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I ran up there by myself.
What's the best case scenario for that?
Yeah. I was like, what am I gonna do? So anyway, somebody was like, they're coming out, and you could see they were coming out with instruments right in the front of the place. So I go out, and the lead singer Brian Fallon is there, and I have my opportunity to talk to him. Yeah, I
gotta look more into these guys. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have liked some of this stuff, but I gotta look.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah. I mean, they kind of broke. They have a new album coming out again soon, but I was just I liked all their stuff.
Okay,
it was a time in my life.
Sure.
And I said to Brian Fallon, I said you saved my life. And then he goes, really? How so? And I didn't have an answer. I was like, just the music, man.
Oh my
And he goes,
goodness!
oh, thanks a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I started wearing mascara on my legs because
Yeah.
of you guys.
Oh, dumb. Oh,
Wow.
God. Yeah, I've done some damn Aziz Ansari. I said something to him at the Comedy Cellar. And
Some overly dramatic.
it was when his show was out, the first season of his
I
show.
really liked that
and it
show.
was really great. And I had
Yeah.
just watched maybe the Thanksgiving episode. It was something where they were both deaf. It was like everybody was deaf in it.
Okay.
Do you remember that one? It was really interesting.
Vaguely. Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, he was right next to me. He had a drink right next to me. And I wouldn't have said anything, but it was like one of those, we were both like facing the same way. And I was like, hey man, I love the show. That episode was fantastic. And he goes, oh, thanks, man. And either him or he does the pound and I do this. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm an idiot. And he goes, let's try that one more time, man.
Okay.
So,
That's cool.
yeah, that was it.
How
And then
old, how old were we with the Gaslight Anthem thing?
God, it must have been 10 years ago.
10
I don't
years
know.
ago.
Maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
I'm not good with time.
Yeah, me neither. Awful, actually. Yeah. But it is funny. Like, you really do. Sometimes it can feel like some music does save your life, you know?
Yeah.
It just, at least it forms who you are and it can bring you to be a different person, which feels like it saved your life. Like, you know, I credit Atmosphere for like molding me as a personality.
Yep.
Like, and I can't escape that. I found him at a very, you know, what do they call that? A formative time in my life. And like, he was just very sensitive and he was very like open and honest. And he was like, and I'm like, I just said this the other day, like I was a huge Eminem fan. And the only thing that got me away from Eminem was I found Atmosphere. Like I found Slug of Atmosphere.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this speaks way more to me. Like I'm not killing my ex-wife and child and putting him in the trunk.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
am heartbroken.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then I was like, oh, I can really just embrace being like a sensitive person. I don't have to be embarrassed by that. And it was a left turn for my personality. And I'm like, so he didn't save my life, but he definitely formed
does.
who I am today.
They do in
Yeah.
small ways. And a lot of it has to do with what state you're in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, some artists get you and they hook you at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for Gaslight. Like, I remember, you know, I'm a huge Springsteen fan too. You probably hate him too. I mean, you hate every
but not-
legend.
yeah.
But anyway, there was a time in my life where I was basically going by myself on tour. Like I would go to
Follow him.
I would follow him upstate, New Jersey. I went to Albany. I went everywhere in the tri-state area.
I went upstate, Albany. That's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm running out.
And you crossed the bridge.
I crossed a couple bridges.
Crossed 2 different bridges.
Listen, I paid some tolls.
Yeah, I paid tolls this year.
But
I followed Wilco a little bit. I was a big Wilco fan for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
But like just like 5 dates.
5 dates.
But like locally, you know.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, like Springsteen was the same thing. I got into him later in life, and it was like a hard time in my life, and it felt like you know when you find somebody, especially somebody like Springsteen who's got a long catalog,
Yeah, I can go deep. Yeah.
and you're like, wow, you're just learning all these songs, and I would like tear up listening to them. They're not all about factories, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember this one tour, he would get on, and he does it. His concerts are just amazing. They're long. Some people would hate him, but I like he has like a little story for a lot of stuff. People hate on that. I love that.
Well, he did that storyteller like at one-man show where he played the songs.
It was
Did
one
you
of the
see
best
it?
things I've ever seen.
Really?
I saw
You
it live.
on Broadway?
Saw it on Broadway.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Not as good.
See, but I would like to. He's a guy that like, yeah, I don't love him, but I would like to like him. Some people
Yeah.
you're like, I don't like them, but I want to like them. Like
Yeah,
Grateful Dead, I can't really get
Same-
into, but I
same with
wish that
Grateful
I
Dead,
liked
yeah.
them. So I would love to maybe watch it. Maybe sometimes just a matter of seeing the right thing, hearing the right song. Like
That's all it
like
takes.
Ani DeFranco. I'm a big Ani DeFranco fan.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wanted to like her, and I couldn't. But I was like, I kept trying, and like it was one song that it clicked for me.
Yeah.
And then I liked all of the other stuff. I was like, oh, it all fell in line.
all
Now,
makes-
now I like everything. So like I kind of had to work at liking it. But I know a lot of people who love Springsteen. I always thought Springsteen was a joke, like forever. I thought like
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like for corny like
If you
for, like,
if you
old-
just
for, like,
know
old
like the
people.
hits, I
Yeah.
guess like born in the USA.
And then I would like hear like people our age being like, oh, well, I love Springsteen. Like, what? Like Springsteen? Like my father likes Springsteen. What are
Yeah.
you talking about? But like my father likes like the corny
Yeah, yeah.
Springsteen songs. But I like a few of them his songs, but I can see it being emotional.
There was a point, like I remember being in Jersey, like I would break down in tears. Like I would get, and I remember like the first Springsteen show I went to was in Jersey, and I had to take the bus from Grand Central to get there, and I sat with this older lady, and she was like, "Is this your first Bruce concert?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, whatever she said, I was like, "Oh my God, this is like." I feel like I'm part of
She was
something.
going to the concert.
Yeah,
as well?
everybody was going, and yeah, she was like, this is gonna change your life, like, and she was right,
Wow.
like, and
I gotta
he
go. I
just
gotta
went
go.
there, and
Yeah.
whatever he said something about, I forget what it is about, like spirits that are with you. If you're here, we're here, they're here, and I had just lost somebody, so I was like, like I was breaking down just listening to these long things, and some people just don't. But I really appreciated it. And I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but
Yeah.
it was great. Those times.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it. I try not to like. I was saying this the other day. I feel like I say that a lot, and there's no reason for me to preface me about to say something by saying I was saying this the other day.
Yeah,
But I
do.
feel like-
Everybody does that.
But I feel like it's dishonest if I say like this is not
not
first time I've ever
a
thought
thought
this.
I'm having right now.
Yeah, I'm repeating things I said in person that I think are.
I also do that.
think are
Like if I
valuable.
had said something to somebody else, I was telling my friend this the other day.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah,
like,
nobody
literally
cares.
just say the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I was saying how I don't like Tom Hanks really. Like,
Oh my God, dude! I don't know what you're really coming off as somebody that I can't understand.
Here's the positive spin on it. Here's the positive
Holy shit.
spin. Not like. So I'm sure he's a great guy. He seems like
Richard Kind, Tom Hanks. What are we doing?
because Richard Kind can do anything that Tom
Holy-
Hanks does.
That's not true.
Yeah,
but
he could
go
be
on.
on an island.
He'd be complaining the whole time.
So I feel like people are always saying, how do I say this?
I don't know.
Everyone was saying, everybody likes Tom Hanks. Who couldn't like Tom? Everybody likes Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
How could you not like Tom Hanks? And I'm always thinking like, I kind of don't like Tom Hanks.
Let me guess. You'll love his Jamaican son though.
Yeah, I like the underground Hanks. But it's a lesson in life that not everybody's going to like you no matter what you do. So when everyone's like, oh, you can't please everybody, it's like, well, you think about what Tom Hanks ever. It's like, no, there's somebody who doesn't like Tom Hanks. So take solace in the fact that there's one person out there who doesn't like Tom Hanks. So when you're out there trying to please everybody, it's impossible because not even the most likable person in the world doesn't please everybody.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like I'm doing the world a disservice by being like, don't even bother trying to please everybody because I always said like that's the
I feel like that would be like a nice motivational bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Like not everyone loves Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
So love yourself.
yeah. And don't
Not
worry
everybody's
about,
gonna
it's
love
like,
you.
Don't worry about pleasing everybody. Just
Yeah.
please yourself and But like every artist is like just find your little audience
Mm-hmm.
and be okay with that and don't pleasing everybody. And like the best art, by the way, is always maybe that's why I don't like him because like the best art is always like not loved by everybody.
Right.
I mean?
But that's pretty good. What is it that you don't like about him?
And I don't really dislike Tom Hanks. I think he's a very vanilla actor. I don't think any of his roles have ever, like blown. He's a serviceable actor. He's not like this.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah, like that's not not impressive. I like more grounded roles. Like I don't know.
What do you mean? Like
I also don't like people who just like I don't like what's his name? He used to be a football player. Now he's like hosts everything.
Michael
Michael
Strahan?
Strahan. I can't stand Michael
Yeah.
Strahan. And he just seems like he's too confident. He's like too likable almost. Too
Yeah,
friendly,
that
too likable,
is
too
too much.
confident. And I'm like, you got to doubt yourself a little bit
Yeah.
for me to like you. Like
Who are
I
you,
like people who
really?
doubt themselves.
Yeah.
And if I don't see that in you, I'm like, nah, not for me. And it's like, I'm happy that he seems like a great guy. I'm sure if I talk to him, he'd be like, this is the nicest guy who's ever existed.
I guarantee if you met Tom Hanks, you'd walk away and be like, that guy just changed my life.
Yeah,
He'd probably say
probably.
one sentence to you.
Totally. They say that about Tom Cruise. Like if he's just like he just locks in with you, and you're just like
yeah,
this guy.
Yeah, he locks in you with
Yeah.
those eyes and the
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah.
That guy's nutty though.
Yeah.
You big Tom Cruise fan?
No, not really. I mean,
See, Tom Cruise, I don't really get. I know he's very
yeah.
handsome,
But and I say the same thing.
but he
I
does all his
say
own stunts. So
a lot of times I'll be like, I don't like Tom Cruise, and I don't even like his movies, and then I watch a Tom Cruise, I'm like, oh, he was good in that.
yeah, that's
And even the
true.
same thing with Tom Hanks. Like, it's not like I don't like Tom Hanks movies, and sometimes I'm like, oh, it was a good movie. Tom Hanks was good in that. I actually loved Terminal, which is like
That's the one you like.
yeah,
Terminal.
yeah, I did like Terminal. Yeah,
Holy
quite a bit,
shit.
actually.
That's wild.
yeah. I just watched Castaway for the first time this year. I liked that. I thought that was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not.
What about Big? I always loved Big.
Yeah, I liked Big. Yeah,
Didn't love it though.
My problem is I think he's overrated, but I think he's good.
It
but
is overrated.
I think he's,
but it's
you can-
also it was a great movie for that time.
No,
when I was
Big-
a little
Big
kid.
was good. Yeah, Big was good. I'm just saying him as a person, I think, is overrated. But yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, I know.
These are Ryan's picks. Richard Kind, Nathan Lane,
And not Tom Hanks, and the anti-Tom Hanks. His son, I think his son's great. You know, but
Son is great.
yeah, but the same thing. Like he's not any more talented.
The normal
I just
son.
don't like when. I think there's so many great actors out there that don't get. I hate booking movies based on a name. Like book the best person for the role. I'll go see a movie if somebody I don't, what's the other guy's name? Michael. This guy's such a great actor. I don't see him in enough thing. Michael.
I know who you're talking about. I think Michael Shannon.
Shannon.
Was that
Michael
who you're
Shannon.
thinking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Michael Shannon.
I'm sorry. Are we like on the same page?
yeah.
Except from you not liking
Yeah.
like all my heroes and stuff, but
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah, the
thinking
fact-
it.
Mike, yeah, that's
And I'm saying
that's a
it.
good poll. Yeah, Richard
What is
Kind. I said
happening?
Richard Kind when you had it,
Whew.
Maybe we don't need Chick.
Maybe we don't.
I was thinking before, what would be the worst outcome to this? Is like we have the best podcast we've had in a long time without
Yeah.
him, and then we realize we don't want to have him back.
God, he's an anchor. Yeah, we'd really.
Or it's just like a dud and we don't know what
I
to
know.
say, and then it's like and then to realize like we need Chick would be like,
also be depressing. But have you ever heard the story of Wally Pip?
I feel like I have, but I only know it because that name sounds familiar.
Yeah. So Wally Pip is a guy. He used to bat. He was ahead of Lou Gehrig.
Yes.
And one day Wally, he didn't show up for work.
Yep.
Like Chick.
Yep.
And
That
Lou
was it.
Gehrig did.
Yep.
So I always tell
And they
Chick.
set a streak for the most games in a row.
Yep, and that was it.
Yeah.
And Wally Pip never to be heard from again. Just
That's
just
right. Yeah,
you know,
I know that
in these stories. So you got to be careful. When Chick says record by yourself,
Yeah.
careful what you ask for.
It would be really insulting though, because it's just, we didn't fill his seat. It'd be one thing if like we had somebody come in, like I've been in contact with Richie Grimes. I'm trying to get him on.
Oh, yeah.
If we brought him in, it was like the great thing. Then
and
like,
it's just
then
the
it was
chemistry
us.
was off the charts.
But to just not have him here and then say we don't even want we don't want anybody in that seat would be so. It would be like if Wally Pip showed up and they left that spot empty
Yeah,
and only batted 8 people. And
Yes. Just a
only
blank.
8 players in the
blank
field, but they just kept winning
name.
with 8. They kept winning with 8 people on the field.
Oh,
and we
that's
just,
hilarious. It
something
turns out we're
about-
better with 8.
Yeah,
Sorry, Wally.
yeah.
Oh man.
That's
well,
good.
that's what was kind of when Chick said it's almost like he was pushing for us to record without him, right?
Certainly, it did sound like he didn't like. He was like, well, we could do Thursday, but no, do it tonight. I'd rather you do
Yeah.
tonight without me.
Because I was like, well, we're lucky we did do it tonight. Because like
Yeah.
at work, I was like, oh, I think I'm available Thursday.
Yeah.
Not thinking. And Chick is like, if you think, which
yeah.
he's right because
yeah.
I did have something.
I liked too that he opened that message, and I don't like talking about him when he's not here. But it's
Yeah.
gonna be a couple weeks that we're not going to be. There'll be no episode next week. Apparently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm
you're
going away. but he opens by "Don't be mad at me, but I can't record. I can't, I have to cancel tonight."
I know.
And I love that that if the idea of that working in life, like doing bad things and then just opening it by being like, "Honey, don't be mad. I fucked your sister."
Don't be
And then she's
mad,
like,
but
"God,
she.
I want to be mad. God, I
I
can't
want to be mad, but he prefaced it.
Prefaced it, but don't be mad.
Not
and
to
I
be
can't
mad.
All right.
I mean, he was honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's probably because, me and Chick go at each other a lot just from being on the,
Yeah, but
close for a while.
you got to be loose with this. If, like,
Of course. I mean,
if
listen.
things come up, you got to.
Things come up all the time. Last week we tried to, we were back and forth with
It
dates.
would be ideal if we got 1 week ahead, and like if we released last week's episode, like we stayed ahead of the curve, then we could release on the same day every week, and it doesn't really matter when we record.
I think eventually with the summer coming down, maybe we're not as busy in the upcoming months, but maybe we could try to do that because that is always nice.
So yeah, we got I think that's we got no Chick's picks because apparently he's not here, and it's coming to an end anyway.
Yeah, but we're gonna try to get him to
I
do
found a rapper that was advertised to me on Instagram. Like you know, like I get a lot of musicians on Instagram like sponsored to me, but I like a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they know what I like. I don't know if they have access to my library. They must. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe because I follow a couple artists and they, I'm sure that's probably what it is now that I think about it. I follow, A$AP Rock and these artists.
It's like Spotify.
Yeah. So they just so these people say, advertise to these type of people and but it works. Like the algorithm works. And like,
it works.
people are like, oh, they're reading your stuff. And I'm like, great. Like they're selling me stuff that I'm going to like. And I like.
So true.
So this rapper, Dust Raps the Blues, I started listening to him, and I was like super into this guy.
Really?
So yeah, that's my request. I'll play a little bit. Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
What, Dust? Like Dust?
It's called D-U-S-T Raps the Blues.
Dust Raps the Blues.
That song is Me and the Devil. It's off of an album called Problems. And the whole album, straight through, is pretty good.
Nice.
It's definitely, white guy indie rap.
Yep.
Which is my lane.
That's your lane right there.
I'm always looking. I'm always excited when I can stick my teeth into a new black rapper.
Yeah.
Because I feel really bad that like a lot of my favorite rappers are white, and it feels like problematic.
Yeah,
it is.
I'm, it is a little problematic.
Appropriating their culture, like
terrible.
I like a lot of black rappers. From the '90s. My favorite era is like the early '90s and Mobb Deep and stuff like that. So, it's where my love came from. But
then when you heard the white rappers,
I can just relate to them
back.
more. Like I just relate to them more. Like they're rapping about things that are in my life. Like I love Mobb Deep, but I don't like, and I like the way they, put words together and the beats. But then when I hear a guy is like, oh, this guy's doing that, and he sounds like me a little bit, and he's rapping about things that I can like. A lot of times during this album, I'm like, this guy is like, I related to so much of what he said, like specifically about relationships and stuff. And like there are black rappers who are more like that. There's less aggressive. There's this guy Rap Ferrara, and he's definitely more like, I can relate to the stuff he says. So it's not just a black and white thing, but white rap in that era was, emo rap.
Like a rap that you would be like, fuck Tom Hanks, I don't have the time. I want a movie that has Richard Kind.
Nice job. Yes. Oh, we gotta relive the rap battle.
No, we
that
don't.
Was
have
like
to
a
ever,
freestyle.
We don't
almost.
have to ever do that.
Yeah.
I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to say before we got out of here, but I'm not remembering it.
About Michael Shannon.
No, I like Michael Shannon too.
Yeah, I think he's a great underutilized.
But he's a great character actor.
Yeah,
some guys have the look of this is a great guy. Like he's a great character. I don't know.
But do you go to see movies because of who's starring them, or are you just like excited
No.
about? So, these casting directors are lazy. That's all it is.
I
So,
guess
we got
so.
a budget for, like, if they just started casting, and searching for new talent, we don't need to see Tom Hanks in a movie. I'm not going to go see movies
That's
because
true.
Tom Hanks is in it.
But it would. I mean, seeing Michael Shannon on the beach at Castaway, it wouldn't
he
work.
would murder
It
that
wouldn't work.
role.
It would not
that
work.
role specifically, he would do good at. He might not do good at a lot of other Tom Hanks roles, but I think that role specifically, he would do great.
I
at.
don't see it.
You're nuts.
I don't.
You're nuts.
I don't see it at all. He Richard Kind is
Yeah, maybe Richard Kind wouldn't be good on the island. But also, he would have to like lose a lot of weight. you
Yeah.
know? Although Tom Hanks didn't lose, he didn't get super.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, you're right, he did.
What are you crazy?
So yeah, I think it
You
just.
don't even know Tom Hanks'
I
work.
remember watching it, and like enough time went by, but eventually he did lose weight. But there was a bunch of time went by where I feel like he hadn't lost enough weight.
Well, you don't lose weight
movie.
overnight.
He's drinking coconut oil.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right. One final thing. Did you end up seeing Barbie?
No,
You haven't
I
seen
haven't
it yet?
seen
Okay.
it yet. No, yeah, it's good.
Because I'm hearing like interesting things
That's why I want
about
to see it. Like I hear people who I trust saying,
Yeah.
"No, it was actually a good movie."
Yeah,
and I love Ryan Gosling. I'll see anything Ryan Gosling's
Big
in.
Ryan
So
Gosling
that's
guy.
just funny because I'm contradicting myself. I literally will go see anything Ryan Gosling's in because I like him so much.
He's a guy that I think is great in most things he does.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I'm not great with movies, but yeah, I like Ryan Gosling a lot. But yeah, that was Barbie. Something I never thought I would want to
Me
see.
neither. I was
but
like-
I'm hearing it's interesting.
I was gonna go see Oppenheimer.
I want to see that too, but the
Me too.
3-hour time thing scares me. I can't sit. I can't sit for 3 hours.
That's a long time at home. Maybe
Maybe at home,
but
Well,
they
even
say
at
like
home,
you got to watch. It's got to be like IMAX.
I guess
all that.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
I would like to see them both in the theater. But I definitely went to see Oppenheimer. And I was like, I'm not interested in Barbie. And then just enough things came out that I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I want to see Barbie.
Word of mouth
Yeah.
helps. All right.
all right. Well, that was great.
If you made it this far,
If you're hearing this, then you did. So thank you so much.
we appreciate you. This
Yeah.
is a fun episode.
Yeah, this was
And
nice.
yeah, we will be back with our friend Chic
Yeah, no doubt.
in 2 weeks.